Good morning, friends. Once again, I welcome you all to this e-learning platform of KTHM College. In today's session, we are going to have a look at the summary and analysis of chapter 1st of Animal Farm by George Orwell. Before we start to have the summary and analysis, we'll have a look at the characters in the Animal Farm. First, we'll start from the animals in the Animal Farm. Old Major, an old boar whose speech about the evils perpetrated by humans rouses the animals into rebelling. His philosophy concerning the tyranny of man is named animalism by his followers. He also teaches the song Beast of England to the animals. The next character is Snowball, a boar who becomes one of the rebellion's most valuable leaders. After drawing complicated plans for the construction of a windmill, he is chased off of the farm forever by Napoleon's dogs and thereafter used as a scapegoat for the animals' troubles. Another character is Napoleon, a boar who, with Snowball, leads the rebellion against Jones. After the rebellion's success, he systematically begins to control all aspects of the farm until he is an undisputed tyrant. Next character is Squealer, a porker pig who becomes Napoleon's mouthpiece. Throughout the novel, he displays his ability to manipulate the animals' thoughts through the use of hollow yet convincing rhetoric. Another character is Boxer, a dedicated but dim-witted horse who aids in the building of the windmill but is sold to a glue boiler after collapsing from exhaustion. Another character is Molly, a vain horse who prefers ribbons and sugar over ideas and rebellion. She is eventually lured off the farm with promises of a comfortable life. Next character, Clover, a motherly horse who silently questions some of Napoleon's decisions and tries to help Boxer after his collapse. Benjamin, a cynical, pessimistic donkey who continually undercuts the animals' enthusiasm with his cryptic remark, "Donkeys live a long time." Moses, a tame raven and sometimes pet of Jones who tells the animals stories about a paradise called Sugar Candy Mountain. Bluebell, Jessie and Pincher, three dogs. The 9 puppies born between Jessie and Bluebell are taken by Napoleon and raised to be his guard dogs. Now we'll have the human characters in the Animal Farm. Mr. Jones, the often drunk owner of Manor Farm, later expelled from his land by his own animals. He dies at his home after abandoning his hopes to reclaim his farm. Mrs. Jones, Jones' wife, who flees from the farm when the animals rebel. Mr. Whymper, a solicitor hired by Napoleon to act as an intermediary in animal farms trading with neighboring farms. Mr. Pilkington, the owner of Foxwood, a neighboring and neglected farm. He eventually sells some of his land to Napoleon and in the novel's final scene, toasts to Napoleon's success. Jones, Mr. Frederick, an enemy of Pilkington, an owner of Pinchfield, another neighboring farm, known for driving hard bargains. Frederick swindles Napoleon by buying timber from him with counterfeit money. He later tries to attack and seize Animal Farm but is defeated. This is all about the characters in the Animal Farm. Now we'll have the look at the summary of the Animal Farm. After Mr. Jones, the owner of Manor Farm, falls asleep in a drunken stupor, all of his animals meet in the big barn at the request of Old Major, a 12-year-old pig Major delivers a rousing political speech about the evils inflicted upon them by their human keepers and their need to rebel against the tyranny of man. After elaborating on the various ways that man has exploited and harmed the animals, Major mentions a strange dream of his in which he saw a vision of the earth without humans. He then teaches the animals a song, Beasts of England, which they sing repeatedly until they awaken Jones, who fires his gun from his bedroom window, thinking there is a fox in the yard. Frightened by the shot, the animals disperse and go to sleep. Now we'll have the analysis of chapter first. Several of the novel's main characters are introduced in this chapter. Orwell paints their dominant characteristics with broad strokes. Jones, for example, is presented as a drunken, careless ruler whose drinking belies the upscale impression he hopes to create with the name of his farm. In addition, Jones' very name, a common one, suggests he is like many other humans, and the tyranny of all mankind is an important theme of Major's speech. His unsteady gait, suggested by the dancing lantern he carries, and snoring wife mark him immediately as the epitome of all that Major says about mankind's self-absorption and gluttony. Indeed, the first chapter presents Jones as more of an animal than the animals themselves, who reacts to any disruption of his comfort with the threat of violence, as indicated by his gunfire when he is awakened from his drunken dreams. The animals assembling in the barn are likewise characterized by Orwell in quick fashion. Major is old and wise, Clover is motherly and sympathetic, Boxer is strong yet dim-witted, Benjamin is pessimistic and cynical, and Molly is vain and childish. All of these characteristics become more pronounced as the novel proceeds. However, Major's speech is the most important part of the chapter, and through it, Orwell displays his great understanding of political rhetoric and how it can be used to move crowds in whichever direction the speaker wishes. By addressing his audience as comrades and prefacing his remarks with the statement that he will not be with the others many months longer, Major ingratitates himself to his listeners as one who has reached a degree of wisdom in his long life of 12 years and who views the other animals as equals, not a misguided rabble that needs advice and correction from a superior intellect. This notion that all animals are equal becomes one of the tenets of animalism, the philosophy upon which the rebellion will supposedly be based. Major's speech seems to initially echo the thoughts of Thomas Hobbes, the 17th century English philosopher who wrote that men in an unchecked state of nature will live lives that are poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Unlike Hobbes, however, who felt that a strong, authoritative government was required to keep everyone's innate self-interest from destroying society, Major argues that the earth could be a paradise if the tyranny of man was overthrown. He presents his fellow animals as victims of oppression and incapable of any wrongdoing. The flaw in Major's thinking, therefore, is the assumption that only humans are capable of evil, an assumption that will be overturned as the novel progresses. Although he tells his listeners, remove man from the scene, and the root cause of hunger and overwork is abolished forever, this will not prove to be the case. As previously mentioned, Major possesses great rhetorical skill. His barrage of rhetorical questions makes his argument more forceful, as does his imagery of the cruel knife and the animals screaming their lives out at the block within a year. Major also specifically addresses man's tyranny in terms of how he destroys families consumes without producing, withholds food, kills the weak, and prevents them from owning even their own bodies. Major uses slogans as well. All men are enemies, all animals are comrades, because he knows that they are easily grasped by listeners as simple minded as Boxer. The speech is a masterful example of persuasion, and his argument that a rebellion must take place is reminiscent of the one made by Patrick Henry to the House of Burgess in Virginia, where he argued that a potential war with England was both inevitable and desirable. Of course, the irony of the entire episode in the barn is that the animals will eventually betray the ideals set forth by Major. He warns, for example, that the animals must never come to resemble their human oppressors, but by the end of the novel, the tyrannical pigs are indistinguishable from their human compassions. Old Major's dream of an animal utopia will quickly become a totalitarian nightmare. The song Beasts of England is another way in which Major rouses his audience, although the narrator jokes that the tune is something between Clementine and La Cucaracha. The animals find it rousing and moving. The use of a song to steer the citizenry is an old political manual, and the lyrics of Beast of England summarize Major's feelings about man. The song describes a day when all animals will overcome their tormentors. Symbols such as rings in their noses, harnesses, beads, spurs, and whips are used to convey the liberty that Major hopes will one day be won. Images of food and plenty also contribute to the song's appeal. The singing of this powerful piece of propaganda reflects one of the novel's chief themes. Language can be used as a weapon and means of manipulation. As the animals will later learn, characters like Napoleon and Squealer will prove even more skilled at using words to get others to do their bidding. This is the analysis of chapter 1st of Animal Farm by George Orwell. In the next lecture, we are going to have a look at summary and analysis of chapter 2nd and 3rd. Thank you.